I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a bore. Checking out talent from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now, we the livest in A-Town. So while you tipping in your lab or your Chevy, or you chilling in your house, get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready. I'm having visions of being lead. Friday just put me in a football frenzy. That ain't all we do. We cover basketball, tennis, and baseball. We do it all. This is time well spent. It's 7 o'clock, so it's time to vent.
Hey, happy Tuesday to everyone. I'm your host, Gentre Williams. It's 7 o'clock in the 8, y'all, and it's time to vent. A jam-packed, great show coming for you guys today. A lot of news breaking out in sports. And I'm joined here by my best friend, Darrian Valsin. Man, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, man. You're doing the whole introduction. I thought you was going to forget about me. I'm all right. I'm great, man. Just ready to talk some sports.
Yes, sir. Talk some sports. And following the NFL, man, NFL season getting ready to kick off here in a few weeks. Josh Allen, if you guys been paying attention, signed a big mega deal. He enjoyed a breakout campaign back in 2020, leading the Buffalo Bills to a 13-3 record, passing for over 4,500 yards. Sorry, technical difficulties there. And he signed a big max extension with guaranteed money of $150 million, 6-year extension, $258 million deal. Is this pretty much Super Bowl or bust for the Buffalo Bills?
I mean, I think it was that before they signed the deal.
Right.
You know, because them getting that trip to the AFC Championship game and coming one game close, I mean, it's naturally you're going to accept that or, you know, the Super Bowl. So, right. Good for Buffalo. They needed to lock down the quarterback, and that's the market for quarterbacks nowadays. And then especially one who is young and talented as he is. So we did like some of the offseason acquisitions they made, and they're pretty much bringing back the core of their team, I think, for the most part. So, yeah, I mean, good signing all around. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's a good signing. It's the largest, most guaranteed money for any NFL player. Broke the record by $9 million.
Let me guess. Mahomes had it?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I don't know who had it previous. Before.
It had to be Mahomes.
Yeah, it had to be that.
Mahomes deal was absolutely banked. So
yeah, he's set for life. $500 million for the next 10 years.
Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy.
Probably got the whole half of the state of Kansas. No, Missouri. But he probably got Kansas too. So yeah, but it's a huge deal. But you know, franchise QBs, that's the market for them. You have to over anything else. Once you have that quarterback, once you have that franchise star, which Buffalo has been lacking for the past 25, 30 years since Jim Kelly left. So now that they have that guy, you know, they're going to do what it takes to lock him down.
And they did it, you know, they extended him out for, 6 years. And usually when teams give out this much guaranteed money, it makes a contract way more flexible. And that's going to be very key for Buffalo because a big thing when you give a quarterback that much money, you're not going to be able to really make that big free agency splash that you normally make. So if you're Buffalo, is Josh Allen good enough to lead your team to a Super Bowl like 5 years from now? You're going to have some holes in your roster.
Well, I mean,
you're not going to be able to pay everybody after that big contract.
Well, that's true. And I think we were talking about it before the air.
Right.
That's one of the main differences between football and basketball.
Right.
In basketball, if you look at a lot of contending teams, you look at the starting lineups, most of those guys, they're bought through free agency.
Right.
You know, with the exception of Milwaukee, but even Milwaukee, now they had to make those free agency acquisitions with guys like Drew Holiday or PJ Tucker, you know, to add towards that core with Giannis and Chris Middleton. You know, Chris Middleton wasn't even drafted by the Bucks either.
Wow.
He was drafted by Detroit.
Okay.
I mean, he spent like 1 year there though, but.
Man, Detroit, they be letting some free agents go.
Yeah, that's
in a whole nother subject.
That's a whole nother subject. But that's the difference. But if you look at football, most of those great teams, they're drafted. All of those guys drafted. The issue in terms of financial, just financial determinations.
Cap league.
Yeah, the salary cap league. So eventually you're going to have to pay those guys.
Yes.
It was the reason why, remember 2013, the Legion of Boom.
Oh, yeah.
That amazing Seattle team. They were absolutely stacked, but a lot of them were on their rookie deals.
Wow.
Remember, so it's
Chancellor, Earl Thomas,
including Russell Wilson. He was on his rookie deal.
He was a third round pick
exactly.
as well,
Third round, so he wasn't getting nothing at that time.
Right.
What really broke the team and closed their window quickly was after they won that Super Bowl, everybody had to get paid.
That's true.
They lost 2 defensive linemen within that first year because they went in free agency and got some more money. So, locking down that quarterback is huge, and the clock is ticking once you do that, because everybody's going to want to get their pay. Everybody's going to want a piece of the pie, which is understood, but you got to plan accordingly for that.
You do got to plan accordingly. You got guys like Ed Oliver, Stephon Diggs on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
This salary is gonna take a huge chunk. They're gonna lose some pieces down the road. But in that division, when you have Bill Belichick, the Jets, I don't even want to mention the Jets.
No,
and then you have the Dolphins, who can be a very dangerous team. So locking up Josh Allen, being the best quarterback in that division by a mile, is key for Buffalo. And some of the other quarterbacks that was drafted in that draft class, along with Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson, it'd be interesting to see, do they look at his deal and be like, if you're Lamar Jackson, do you want more than what Josh Allen got? Or are you just trying to get around that same number? Because I don't know if Baltimore is willing to give that much guaranteed to a quarterback like Lamar, who likes to move around a little bit more.
Well, if I'm Lamar,
right,
I do avoid the issue about, am I a traditional quarterback, or am I a guy who's product of your system? I don't want if I'm negotiating, because you say he's his own agent.
Yeah,
right?
He doesn't have an agent.
He doesn't have an agent.
Right.
So if I'm Lamar, my whole thing going into that negotiation is, it's not about what I am as a passer. It's what I've done and what we've been as a team since I've been on the team.
That's true.
We've been a playoff team. I'm an MVP winner. Hey, give me my due. So I think that's the angle he needs to take there.
Should he ask for more in a sense than Josh
Absolutely, yeah. Josh Allen ain't got no MVP. So
that's true.
So yeah, absolutely. That's going back to my point. Hey, I have accolades that he doesn't have yet. Sure, right. You might have people who might argue that he's more of a traditional passer, the big arm guy. But hey, what I bring to the table is I've brought winning, and I've had the individual accolades.
And further along, the number one guy in that draft class, Baker Mayfield. He's in a different situation, in my opinion. I feel like the Cleveland Browns, they got to be very careful before they pay Baker Mayfield a lot of money, because that team, that roster, in my opinion, probably a top 5 roster in the NFL, and that's because you still have Baker Mayfield on a rookie deal. If they try to give him a big deal, I don't see the Cleveland Browns being able to keep that type of team, being the AFC contender that they are right now.
Well, I let me just say that I know that you think highly of their roster, because I seen you had them at number 2 on your little power rankings there.
Yes, I do.
So, I didn't know if you wanted the cat out the bag now. But yeah, absolutely. If I'm Baker Mayfield, then from what he said, because I think they asked him a question about that, he said he's not worried about it. He's not concerned over it.
I don't believe that.
Well, I'm just going by what the man said.
Right.
He's got 2 years left on his deal. If I'm the Browns, what it seems like, looking from their point of view, they might be a little hesitant to make a long, full-term commitment. I do think eventually a deal gets done, because, I was never a big Baker Mayfield fan either, but looking at it from an unbiased stance, he got the win. He's improved.
Yes.
Plus, he got them. They're a winning team now. They're a team that has a lot more expectation going into this year. So that's another argument I would make. If I'm Baker Mayfield, I look at it from the standpoint of, hey, we are a much better franchise since I came on board.
Is that more so Steve Sarkisian, or is that Baker Mayfield?
If I'm Baker, I'm not arguing for Steve Sarkisian. I want my money. I don't care if Steve Sarkisian getting paid. So
that's true.
Or Kevin Stefanski.
Kevin Stefanski. That's what I'm probably thinking.
Is Sarkisian with Tech? Man, you got a whole. What's going on? Man, you wrote something wrong in your notes, bro. Yeah, you said Sarkisian. No, it's Kevin Stefanski. He just got on board. Right. So I mean, his rookie year, he had a pretty good rookie year.
Right.
So my whole issue, just like Lamar, if I'm Baker, my argument is not necessarily who I am as a passer.
Right.
Is, hey, I have proven that I could turn this team into a winner.
Right.
We have been winning since I got here. We're going to win continuously if you make that long-term commitment to me. So.
And that's a long-term commitment. And, a team that made a long-term commitment to a quarterback I was thinking about was the Oakland Raiders with Derek Carr. in that situation, that since they paid Derek Carr all that money, they kind of fell off a little bit. Do you kind of see that same instance with the Buffalo Bills? Because they see their team as a Super Bowl contender right now. The Oakland Raiders, they felt that same way when they had Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, and all those young guys coming up, but they kind of fell off. They leveled out. Everybody caught up to them. Can the same thing happen to Buffalo?
Well, I think the difference with Derek Carr, we have to keep in context that Derek Carr had a pretty bad injury. That year that they went 12-4, do you remember? That was the year that they played the Texans, and they had to have Connor Cook come in. So since then, he never really has fully recovered, it looked like, at least from a consistency standpoint. Now, we could be wrong. Maybe he would have been like that without the injury. But before that injury, he looked like he was well on his way to being the top quarterback in the league. Now, fast forward to today, like a precarious situation because I don't know if Gruden is fully on board with Carr to begin with. That might be the difference. And you got to remember, Carr was there with the previous regime when they had what was the coach? Jack Del Rio. When Jack Del Rio was the head of the guy. So Gruden kind of inherited him. So whereas different with Josh McDermott and the Bills, where Josh Allen is their guy. They are linked together. So I think it's a totally different situation going with the Raiders. I mean, they made the deal to bring in Marcus Mariota. I don't know how but that kind of. I'm not saying that he's going to be competing with him for the starting job.
Marcus Mariota is pretty talented. He's not a
But that's what I'm saying. But there's always been rumblings about how they might think that he could be that guy that they could step in, whether they want to pull out their. You would?
I wouldn't pull out Derek Carr.
He's talented.
He's a talented quarterback, but I wouldn't take him over Derek Carr. Derek Carr, in my opinion, was a very talented quarterback coming out of Fresno State, and
I'm not making no comparison either way. I'm just saying
if you're going to put in Marcus Mariota over Derek Carr, I don't know.
Well, you're gonna have to have John Gruden. I'm not responsible for the Oakland Raiders depth chart. Las Vegas Raiders depth chart. Oakland, Las Vegas, it don't matter.
Yes. True. And another thing we was going to get to, because Josh Allen, he had a really breakout year since he got Stephon Diggs, leading the Bills to the AFC Championship. They fell short to the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to get your opinion, man. Your if you could give me 5 breakout players this year that can have a big year in the NFL. They're not really household names. They could be pretty good players, but they can become like household names this year with a big season.
You know what? I always give you trouble because when you ask questions like this of me, I'll be mad because you don't tell me in pre-tape. You told me in pre-tape, and I had about 3 of them. I forgot to get the last 2. So I'm going to have to come up with the last 2 on the top of my head. Okay, I said the first 3, and I spoke that they might be on a bias level, but I say
mine's could be.
But think mine's but sometimes it's good to be biased because especially if it's a team you watch.
Yes.
Because you have more of an intel on them, so you could create a more educated guess.
Right.
One guy I said I think could have a big season is Traquan Smith of the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
Because it's situation with Mike Thomas, whether he gets traded or whether he's not gonna play at the beginning of the season. He's he hasn't recovered from the surgery, and I think that Traquan Smith, he had a good couple of years.
How long is Mike Thomas gonna be out?
It varies. It could be the first 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
I'm thinking. So going back to Traquan, I think that Traquan could have a good year because he's going to have to step into a higher role. Hopefully, his biggest issue has been since he's got here, somewhat with his consistency. But I think that's from a young receiver. He still got to develop.
Right.
But I think that him having that higher role and maybe getting healthier, staying healthy, because his health has been an issue. If he can stay healthy, I think he can definitely have a big year with probably with more of a chance to prove himself.
Traquan, he showed me a lot on special teams last year. He was a kick returner, right?
No, that's Deontay Harris.
That's what
you know what? You know what? Now I think of that, probably who I should say, but I don't know if it's breakout because he's already an all-pro returner.
Yeah, he's an all-pro returner.
So it's not like it'd be like a breakout. When I say breakout, when you say breakout,
they could become a household name.
Oh, a household name?
Right.
Oh, well, I guess it's Deontay. It's not like he's a household name.
Right.
Everybody in my house don't know who the all-pro punter is. So, especially in my house, you don't watch football at all. But, I guess we'd go Deontay Harris. And then next, I would probably say Patrick Queen.
I like Patrick.
Patrick Queen, obviously LSU Tiger last year, 2 years ago. Wow, the time going by crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but Patrick Queen.
Did he play with Devin White?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were. Devin left the year before the national championship.
Okay.
But I think Patrick Queen, he had a pretty solid year. because I follow other LSU fans. They said he should have been more in the running for defensive rookie of the year. I don't say it because Chase Young was too dominant. But I think that this year, the second year, he's already in a good system in Baltimore. I think he could definitely have a breakthrough year. He can definitely get on the scene. Another guy, I think that might be on your list, DJ Chark.
Yes, he was a notable mention for mine. I like DJ Chark. Now he has a quarterback.
Yeah, now he has Trevor Lawrence. We're going to see how that works. I mean, I don't know. Maybe from the trade rumors, Mike Thomas might be in the deal. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Because people are talking about Mike Thomas reuniting with Urban Meyer. Remember, that was his coach at Ohio State.
Wow.
That's what I'm hearing. So whether that's going to be what happens, whether he's a number 2 or if he's a number 1, because I think he's very talented.
So are you saying they're trying to trade DJ Chark to Pittsburgh?
No, I'm hearing that the Michael Thomas that they're doing trade rumors.
Oh, okay. And I said Mike Tomlin. I'm sorry.
No, not Mike Tomlin. What did he trade the coach?
I heard
No. I'm gonna catch a fit. Is that but Michael Thomas because that issue that's going on with that team. I'm not gonna mention as much.
Right.
But I just mentioned for Traquan. But that's all I'm gonna do. And Deontay. But I think Chark could have a really good season. Whether he goes to that number 2 role with a Mike Thomas trade, he steps in number 1 because I think he's very talented. He just needs a good pass of the football.
He's like a 6'5", ran a 4.3.
Yeah,
high point.
Yeah, high point and amazing deep threat as well. He was a great deep threat. So he's another guy. Where we at? We had 3.
Right.
So we can do 2 more. Okay, this is gonna be straight from top of the dome. So you're gonna have to bear with me.
It's all good.
You know what I think could really break. This might be the one that really breaks through. I think he might become a superstar this year. Calvin Ridley.
Ooh,
Calvin Ridley. I think
thought about Calvin.
Calvin Ridley. Yeah. Now that Julio is gone for good, and now he's the definitive number 1.
Can I give you a little rebuttal why I didn't put him on mine?
Go ahead.
He's gonna be facing double coverages this year. I don't know if he's.
No. And you know what? That is a very strong point. That's actually very critical because look at what happened to Juju.
Right.
He got rid of AB. So that anytime you got a guy who's number 2 and then you move him to number 1, it's definitely hard. But I think it might be a little easier if you're on the same team. I think it's harder once you go in free agency and go somewhere else.
Okay,
and then try to be the number 1 because the system plus you got to deal with that.
Right.
But I think that Calvin Ridley definitely he showed signs that he could be a premier receiver. Now, question is, what kind of Matt Ryan you're gonna get? But I think that I'm gonna go ahead and say Calvin Ridley be the next guy.
Can Kyler Pitts? Was it Kyler Pitts?
Kyle Pitts.
Can Kyle Pitts kind of open up the middle? Sucking those linebackers, safeties, and help out? Calvin Ridley.
That was a very lewd thing you said. I'm not gonna repeat that. Don't snip that. That's too obscene. But
you know what I mean? Can he?
Yeah. I mean,
Pitts.
I understand the point you was making, but what you got to
bring the attention of the safeties and linebackers away from Calvin Ridley a little bit. Do you think he's that premier of a tight end?
Well, I mean that remains to be seen.
Right.
Obviously, he has the hype around him.
You're
picking the numbers. What did he go 4? Number 4?
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was utterly ridiculous.
I never seen a tight end go that high. That's crazy.
Still crazy to me, but the Falcons. Yeah.
Hey.
So I mean, Kyle Pitts is going to get the attention to start.
Right.
It depends on what kind of player he becomes in response to all the early attention he's probably going to get from opposing defenses. But really, he's going to be the guy that's going to be he's going to be the guy that gets the attention anyway. I think everybody has pretty much known that really has been the number 1 receiver since last year.
They still have Justin Gage?
Yeah. Not Russell Gage. Russell Gage. He's still there. Yeah.
So they have a pretty good wide receiving core.
They always had. It was just they lost their consistency in the running game, and then Matt Ryan. Yeah, he's getting older, and their defense is god awful. So that's why they haven't been back to the playoffs since 2017.
Yeah.
So, but Calvin Ridley will be another guy.
That's a solid.
So we got one more, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got your 5 all just sitting up, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, I figured that. So this segment won't be as long. But let me see. I'm not gonna take any of yours.
You cannot.
No, I don't want to, because I feel like I'm cheating. Because I thought the one you said was pretty good, but I want to see if there's something else I could do. I'm going through the divisions in my head.
CD Lamb? How you
you got him on your 5, don't you?
No. He's not. He was a player to watch for me.
Don't lie to me, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Okay, well, if you ain't got him, I'm gonna go ahead and take CD Lamb. Yeah, that's another breakout, another amazing receiver. I mean, he was great last year.
Right. Talented guy, man.
Yeah, and then Dak's coming back, so Dak's on his getting 500-yard games kick. So if he's going back to that this year, then CD's definitely going to eat, and he's definitely going to be all pro. Now, I mean, if that's going to lead to Cowboys winning, I hope not, but
they should win that division. Yeah, I'm saying they should. Kidding. I'm not saying they are. They should.
The Cowboys definitely on paper are probably the most impressive team, especially offensively. They just got to get everything good on defense.
Right. Micah Parsons,
who I think is a beast. I think he's going to be really, really good. But CD, CD's an amazing player. CD's.
You got Gallup, you got Amari Cooper. They have a trio.
I heard they might be putting Gallup on the trade block.
Why would you?
What? I'm just saying. Once again, it's my sources. They're not credible, but they're sources. I don't know. But as it stands right now, then yeah, you're right. Then
that's a talented wide receiving core. Yeah. That can wreak some havoc.
I think CD might make this year. He might make the jump that he's the number one guy. Tomorrow.
I could see that happening.
So yeah, those would be my 5.
I like your 5, man. That was a very
thank you, bro.
Especially off the top. I know you had a lot of Saints in there to start off and some LSU guys, but top 5.
I wasn't trying to be on the bias level, but once again, if I'm a fan, if I watch them all the time, that's why most people say, and I'm one of those people.
Right.
If you're somebody who don't watch the team, I really can't take your opinion over somebody who does. I watch the Saints 24/7 all the time. I follow them, so I'm gonna have a little more intel and know what I'm talking about in terms of players than people who kind of do it on the casual level.
That's facts. And getting to my top 5, I kind of cheated there at the end because I have 2 guys that kind of a duo. I was thinking of I needed a quarterback on my list. I had a bunch of pass rushers, so I'm gonna start off with the Patriots.
Okay.
I know he's already a megastar. I know he's won MVP. Cam Newton, Marshall, and other receivers. Chad Ochocinco was getting on Cam about you don't have a number one receiver, and Cam was really standing up for N'Keal Harris, saying, "Man, I'm telling y'all, this guy is special." And just
let me guess, Brandon Marshall screaming. I'm just gonna I can't watch it, but that was just my
he was
screaming. He said it. Yeah,
he was. And I think N'Keal Harry, man, last year he had 33 receptions for over 309 yards, 2 touchdowns. He that Bill Belichick, that offense is very tough. Really coached by Josh McDaniels. It takes a rookie sometimes because a lot of him and Cam Newton, they're gonna form a special connection this year, and they can have a big year.
Yeah, well, he definitely. The role of a late bloomer,
right?
Good Lord, man, it's what been 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while for N'Keal.
Been a while, so I apologize. I had misinformation. I thought they'd already got rid of him.
He's been turning it up in camp. And another guy I have here is Derrick Brown, defensive tackle for the Carolina Panthers. I said the Carolina Packers.
Yeah, when they moved, but okay.
But Derrick Brown, he was a number 7 pick coming out of Auburn. He was one of the most dominant pass rushers I've seen in the SEC in the past couple of years. I think with Brian Burns, he's going to get a lot of attention on the outside that will lead Derrick Brown open up for single coverage, and I think he could really dominate in that division and pretty make a name for himself this year.
Yeah, Derrick Brown, I remember him at Auburn, man. He was definitely a dominating player. 2 years ago when they played LSU, that was probably defensively, that was the toughest defense we faced.
Wow.
Period. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Auburn was the toughest defense that the 2019 LSU team dealt with, and Derrick Brown was at the forefront. He was hard to block, man.
It's like every time I watch the Auburn game, I just remember him being like 2 or 3 yards in the backfield. I'm not saying he's going to be like an Aaron Donald or anything like that, but he can be a very special player for Carolina if they continue to build that franchise of White Ray. Sure. And this guy, I know he made the special teams Pro Bowl last year, but I think he's going to be even more of a weapon in the Baltimore offense. I really like them at the University of Texas. Devin Duvernay.
Yeah.
He's a special talent. Every time the ball gets in his hands, he makes something special happen. I think Baltimore, they need to get the ball in his hands a lot more. He can make things happen every time he touches the ball.
Right. So, Devin, is it Duvernay or Duvernay? His name just annoys me because I feel like there's too many syllables in it.
I didn't heard it pronounced like 2. I was watching a lot of highlights and I heard broadcasters pronouncing different ways every game.
No, well, I mean, I'm sure he knows who we talking about when we say his name. So
right. And another guy I have here is Deebo Samuels. I know that first year when the 49ers made the Super Bowl, he was kind of a prominent receiver, but last year he only played a few games. He took a downfall in his production. He only had like 30-some receptions. Didn't have that same production he had in his first year. I look for him to have a huge bounce-back year and being probably a number one option for that San Francisco 49 offense. And he also does a lot of bootleg action, running the jet sweeps. He also runs a wildcat for that team. Look for him also to have a very special year.
Well, yeah. I think, and Shanahan does definitely a good job of getting receivers and moving them in the right places and making. Yeah, I mean, he Samuel was a big part of that offense that year that went to Super Bowl, man. He definitely, his speed and his playmaking ability kind of just separates him. And he's definitely tough to defend. He went to South Carolina? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good one.
Deebo Samuel, man.
He'd be more of well, if I say more of a bounce back type.
Right,
I think he was well on his way before the injuries, too.
He's a very talented player. I love watching Deebo Samuel. Right. And this one's going to seem like I'm being very biased. And I'm not being biased. I've been watching him since he was, a kid and toddler, and then he's special. That's like every time he touches the rock, something special can happen. And once Cincinnati sees this, they will. Travion Williams. There's only been 3 running backs in the last 18 years to rush for more rushing yards than him in the SEC. Darrian McFadden, Trey Mason, and Derrick Henry. Right. Yes, he has over 1,700 yards at A&M. That's no small feat rushing for 1,700 yards in the SEC. Cincinnati, they just lost Giovanni Bernard in free agency. He's gone. He went somewhere else. They do have Joe Mixon, but I'm saying get used to this name, folks. Travion Williams, he's a special talent. My brother, I love him, but he's a special football player. I'm telling y'all. Once he gets the ball in his hands, a lot of great things are going to happen for Cincinnati. Well,
I agree, man. One of the great SEC running backs, period, in the last couple of years. And I got seeing and watching little Trey since he was little, when we were playing in the yard.
Play with him in the backyard, man.
Remember, he was the smallest one. We couldn't even tackle him. So, he's definitely going to get that chance right now. And, being a running back, all you need is that one opportunity. Those couple of carries, show. They don't have anybody right now that I say is definitive number one. Well, no, they have that Joe. Was dumb. Yeah, they have Joe. But I'm saying, in this day and age in the NFL,
it's always by committee.
Yeah, running back by committee. So you always need somebody to get that other load.
Right.
You need somebody that kind of sort of like run interference or kind of that backup right there, and I think Trey could play that role definitely.
He could definitely be a very special third down back. Him, and then Absolutely. They could have Samaje Perine do his thing in the trenches when they get down in the goal line.
Right.
And then they still have Joe Burrow and all those weapons. So that's really not going to be too much of a focal point on Trey. I think those first couple of games for Cincinnati, he's going to show people that just how talented he actually is. I really can't wait. He's been working his butt off this year.
I hope he does, man. I really does. I would love to see him get that opportunity. Him and Joe, I'll go ahead and make them my AFC team, man. That's all right.
Yes, sir. All right. Yes, sir. And my number one guy, he did make the Pro Bowl, but it was kind of by injury this year. I think he has an opportunity to be Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL. And that's only because I'm going to go Montez Sweat. He was a former first-round pick for the Washington football team. He had 9 sacks last year. But in my opinion, it's outside of the 49ers and football team. I almost called him the other name.
We call him Washington.
Yeah, Washington.
See, everybody messing it up, man. It's not meant to be called the football team. It's Washington. It's just Washington. Don't say the football team.
So for Washington, I think they have, in my opinion, the best pass rush in all of football. Between Chase Young, De'Aaron Payne, and Montez Sweat. Chase Young is going to get a lot of attention out there on the edge, and he's going to get double teamed. They're going to also try to double team De'Aaron Payne, who's also a dominant rusher, and that's going to leave Montez Sweat in one-on-one situations with tackles. He ran like a 4.4 and a 40. Yeah. He's a once-in-a-generation type athlete, and he's a problem coming off the edge. And I think he has opportunity to lead the league in sacks and probably win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Well, I agree, man. And going back to your point about Washington, their defensive front is absolutely amazing, and they're all young.
Right.
That's another thing. So they definitely got a couple of years where they could definitely do some damage in the league. But, Sweat, physical. Yeah, I mean, they all through there. They're all a bunch of physical freaks.
Right.
So, I would co-sign that one, too. I think Montez Sweat, and basically Washington, it just depends on the quarterback play, obviously.
Right.
But if you're looking at Washington in that NFC East, they're right there with Dallas in terms of talent.
They just don't have a quarterback.
That's what I just said. I said it's going to depend on quarterback play.
But, okay, would you Taylor Heineke or Fitzpatrick, who would you in the playoff game, who would you rather have try? Who would you think could get it done more, Heineke or Fitzpatrick?
Trent Dilfer. No, okay. Well, no, I mean, Heineken. I don't know how to say his name. That's what it looked like to me. But the Taylor guy. Oh, really? We doing that now?
I see you saying.
Man. A bunch of jokers over there, man. Yeah. But Heineke, he definitely he played pretty well against Tampa Bay.
Yes, he
showed
did.
it. So and then he's got
capable.
the youth. And Fitzpatrick, I mean, I like him, but he has that thing where he'll play like amazing.
He's like the most swinging quarterback.
Yeah,
ever,
and then
man.
he'll just he'll take a turn for the worse. So if I'm Ron Rivera, which I'm not, but if I'm in his shoes, I got to look at who can I depend on? He's got a player who has youth and might be a little more consistent, and because at the end of the day, you want success, but you want that continued success. You want to make sure there's somebody who's going to be there, and I think that Heineke would be the best option because I think he can play, he could be consistent. And you also don't want to, you want to see if he could get some confidence and really get rolling with the team.
They have nice set of receivers as well.
Yeah, that's what
Antonio. He's a running back. I'm sorry. Scary Terry.
Yeah,
that boy nice.
Yeah.
Then they pick up Deebo Samuel from Ohio State.
Yeah, you got Deebo.
Not Deebo Samuel. Curtis Samuel from Carolina. They picked him up as well.
Okay, but I mean that just goes back to what I was saying. There's talent all over the board except for the quarterback position.
Right.
But I think that the younger, more cheaper, possibly more consistent option is Heineke.
Right.
And I think that's where I would roll with it. And if he does well, they're definitely
live.
Not just in the NFC East. I think in the conference they're definitely.
If you have a dominant pass rush, you've seen this throughout football.
Exactly.
Anytime you can give a quarterback speed up that time, that clock for quarterbacks, you have a chance at any game.
How do you think Eli Manning got 2 Super Bowl rings?
That's a whole different subject.
Well, that's not a whole different. Don't make me start a rant on there.
Hey, this is the event, man. This is an opportunity for you to vent out.
You just get more and more clever with that by the day, ain't you? Well, okay, but I mean, you're totally right. It all and I said this a couple weeks ago. It all starts in the trenches.
Right.
Offensive line play, defensive line play. Those are the heart and the nucleus of successful sides of the ball. So, yeah, the Washington definitely has that going for them.
I can't wait to see that division, how it plays out in general. And we're going to switch gears just a little bit to the NBA. Luka Doncic, man, signed a big mega deal with the Dallas Mavericks, 5-year, $207 million extension. He becomes the first player to be eligible for the Supermax after his rookie deal. There's certain criteria you have to meet. A couple of first-team All-NBAs. He met the criteria.
Right.
And just for Dallas, this is big. I'm pretty sure they knew this was going to happen, but is a time, we're starting to see this more and more often. They get this big 5-year deal, 4-year deal, but after this deal, this is when, you got to speed up the clock. If you don't get it done in Dallas, do you think, 5 years is enough time for Dallas to build a team around Luka?
Yeah, it better be.
Right.
It better be. But I think the biggest vision for Dallas right now for Luka is I know they want to build like a big 3-core around him.
Yes.
You want to get superstars around him. I mean, they got Porzingis. I don't know if that's necessarily it don't look like that's work to that.
I like Porzingis coming out. I just think those injuries, a 7-footer with bad legs.
Yeah, because from what I understand, Carlisle and him had a falling out because Rick Carlisle wanted him to be move more towards just being a stretch 4 type player.
Is it Carlisle in Indiana? No.
Yeah, he's in Indiana again. Because he was in Indiana before he got to Dallas.
Right.
But Carlisle wanted him to be a stretch 4. And Porzingis being the number 1 option in New York that he was.
It's not his game.
That just wasn't his game. Or he just didn't want to play that game.
Right.
So, I don't know
he could put the ball on the floor. He could do so much more than just be a stretch 4.
But I think it seems like from what Carlisle is asking of him that he doesn't really have that in him anymore from the injuries. And you see flashes of it, but I don't know if he's that guy anymore from New York. I don't know if we'll ever see that guy because I think he's had too many. His rash of injuries is kind of like stifling him a little bit.
Anytime, like I said, anytime a 7-footer has an ACL, MCL,
exactly.
I always kind of, I hope they come back and do well, like a Kevin Durant, right? Mm-hmm. But that's so rare.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't know, if 7-footers, are meant to be running up and down a court, a 100-foot court, 100 times a year. It's bad for their legs. In general.
Yeah, and I think that might have been what we're seeing with Porzingis. So if I'm Dallas, it might be best to. I'm not saying cut bait right now, but you want to look at your options because you want to build a team around him. You know, because the deal is nice, but the kid's gonna want to win eventually.
I'm thinking of this deal off the top of my head because you know how Kawhi is a free agent, right?
Sure.
Is there, hypothetically speaking, if you're the Clippers, I don't know if this is, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. You got Kawhi, he's uncertain right now.
Mm-hmm.
You could get a guy like Porzingis, Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, if he's still there. Throw in some guys to sweeten the deal. Would you, if you're Dallas, try to take a jab at Kawhi, try to bolster your roster, try to show Luka Doncic that you can get it done here in Dallas? Because I know they had that championship with Dirk, I get that, but you still have to prove to Luka that you could build a championship team here. In Dallas.
I mean, you could. I'm sure that they wouldn't mind having Kawhi on the roster, but
right.
I don't know if you talking about like a sign and trade.
Right. A sign and trade. It would take Kawhi agent, kind of doing the negotiating and everything. Right. But
I mean, I
think that would be a
it would. That's not even what I'm arguing. I just don't know if that's what Kawhi would want to do, or because I think he's coming back to the Clippers. I don't see him going elsewhere. It'd have to be a situation where the Clippers make it clear to him they want to move.
He burned some bridges out there. A lot of players, him being late for playing.
Well, there's wildfires out there, so everybody's bridges getting burnt. What I say wrong? I want disrespect. I was speaking facts.
Yeah, you good.
But
facts.
Yeah, but I mean, sure, but at the end of the day, they're gonna want Kawhi. He's the nucleus of everything they do. Where they gonna go from there if they?
I think they did pretty well with Paul George. If they could get a decent package for Kawhi, because Paul George, I play a little basketball, right? You hoop with me coming.
Yeah,
up,
I
right?
seen. Yeah. What?
So like, if I know I'm the best player on the court, it's a difference. But if I have a guy I know I should defer to, you take a back seat. You're not as assertive. And I see that same kind of mentality with Paul George. When he knows he's the guy, he can really lead a team far into a playoff run. But if he feels like he's a second option, he's just not the same guy.
But are you basing that on those few games that he played?
No, I'm based on his entire. I'm based on his entire career. Even when he was with Russ, they say he had like a little MVP run, but when they got to the playoffs, and he kind of still deferred to Russ.
Well, they kept blaming it on their injuries and stuff. Right. I mean, that OKC team was annoying.
Right.
But I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, that was a few small sample size games, and then if you want to talk about his Indiana games, that was 8 years ago, and that was a totally different team with Frank Vogel, and they were a lot more complete team than people give them credit for. So, I understand Paul George is a star, but I don't know if I want to just bank on making him the number one guy.
Because I'm going off like watching the game. Whenever he has the ball in his hands, like he's kind of like James Harden in a sense. Once he gets his rhythm going, he can really take over a game.
I'm not denying that,
and he can really lead a team far. And I feel like when they had Kawhi Leonard there, he kind of deferred too much to a fault. He never really showed that the same assertiveness that he showed when Kawhi is out. And it's I know it's kind of a mental thing.
Don't that sound like more of a reason to get rid of Paul George then?
No,
he can't play a number 2 role. You
can't trust Kawhi Leonard. These guys always missing. He only plays 50 games a year.
But Paul George has missed games too. A few. You remember all the years in OKC? He blamed on his shoulder.
Once he broke,
except when he dunked. But I don't want to get no Paul. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, I don't know if the Clippers make it clear that we can move on, then move on. But if Kawhi and his people want to be back, I'd make that deal. I don't know if I just put my eggs in Paul George basket because of performance in the playoffs,
right?
Because it's just I don't know, it's just iffy for me.
I completely I understand on that one. And a little bit back to Luka Doncic, I was going to give him some comparisons over the next 5 years since he signed his big mega deal. If I'm say, would you rather have Luka or would you rather have X? And I just want to get your take on it.
Okay.
So you got Luka, the guy he was traded for, Trae Young, or for the next 5 years, who would you rather have?
Next 5 years, I would go. And I like Trae. I do like Trae.
Nice,
Trae is nice. But I guess I would say the safe and just say Luka, because I guess offensively he gives you the full gamut of the rebounds, the assists, and he's a good shooter from the field. Now his free throw shooting, it's
weird.
He's
a great. He has a nice little mid-range shot. He has a nice 3-point. Well, his 3-point shot.
3-point. Now I think what? Now you making me argue for Trae now. But I guess because looking at it, because I guess because neither one of them is an amazing defender.
Right.
Neither one of them woo me on that end. So I don't know. I guess I go with the safe pick and just go with Luka.
Luka?
Yeah.
Luka or Devin Booker?
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker over the next 5 years?
Over the next 5 years?
I like that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I'll go Devin.
Devin Booker, Luka, and I got two more. Luka or this is gonna sound crazy, but Luka or Giannis, because Giannis just won a championship.
Giannis.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, both ends of the floor. Hey man, I gotta stick to my principle. If you're a player, if you're a player who can affect both ends of the floor for offense and defense, because we know one thing we can say about Giannis, through all the criticism you or I have had about him, defensively he's just as good. Now he might not be necessarily a amazing perimeter defender because he's not that guy, but at the rim it's hard. He's held because he's got that big pterodactyl wingspan, and he has an amazing motor. He's going to play hard. And, on that end of the floor, Luka, like we said, he just leaves a lot to be desired on him.
Right.
But Giannis, he gets you those high percentage shots, going to get to the rim, going to get you a couple assists, a lot of rebounds. So, that's just me on that. I mean, Giannis, to me, is going to be, once Kevin Durant, because I think I'm of the opinion, and, you might be argumentative about that to me, so I'm prepared. But I think Kevin Durant has took the mantle as the best player in the world right now. And I think once that he's done with it, I think that's going to Giannis. So that's just, I might not be the biggest fan of Giannis or how he plays, but the way he plays is effective, and he's a reigning NBA champion, 2-time MVP.
I can't argue with that right now.
Yeah, you can right now. So I'm just going to talk freely. So Giannis is going to have. So I would take Giannis over the next 5 years over Luka.
Over Luka, and then these next two the last one I might surprise you with.
Okay.
Because this is kind of going to be a tough one. Zion or Luka?
Oh man, you got to do that because I like Zion. No, I do like Zion. I like Zion. I love
that kid's special, man.
Yeah, you know what I call
Barkley?
Yeah, Baby Barkley.
Yeah,
you already know that's Baby Barkley right there. But just bigger, stronger, and faster.
Right.
But Jim Boeheim,
Syracuse.
Yeah. You ever see his quote about when they talked about after he played Zion?
I seen his press conference, but I can't remember what he said.
He said he's just like Barkley, but he's probably a better shooter and more athletic and less fat. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I totally agree, man. So
that's a tough one.
It's tough because, man, you know what? Zion has only played what amounts, because somebody said because he was injured for most of his rookie year.
I'm gonna try to. I want to say.
Yeah, no. He's only played
100-some games.
No, 82 games. He's only played an entire season. Yes.
Damn.
So he had those injuries, and the games he's come back in. You know what I love about him?
But he's dominant.
He could be a back down player, but he also has a lot of point guard ability to him. And you know what? That's just like how Charles Barkley played.
Exactly.
He was now the one thing that Zion has to improve on, and I think Charles Barkley, because he knows about the comparison.
Right.
He's got to become an even better rebounder. You got to get his rebounding numbers up. He's not quite the rebounder Chuck was, but in terms of that back down player, strong, could get to the goal, but and also has a little bit of ball handling ability and athleticism.
I was shocked that New Orleans but kind of traded away Lonzo, because I think Lonzo and Zion had a real good connection. In the offense.
Lonzo didn't want to be there. I don't think he wanted to be there. I
understand the New Orleans. That's kind of like the Bensons kind of extra cash little team, whatever. They really don't really pay too much attention to it.
Right.
The Saints is kind of where they really focus most of their attention.
I'd agree.
And so having a team on the back, feeling like you're on the back burner as a player.
They're literally on the back burner. You ever went to the arenas are right next to each other?
I never been to a Pelicans game.
No, I don't recommend it. No, I'm playing. I'm just kidding. Yeah, they always had, because they had Anthony Davis and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, you're right about that. That's I mean, it's a Saints town. The Saints always going to rule the day. But I mean, Zion is a player to me. He has so much natural ability, and with that, I think he has a lot more upside. I know that sounds crazy. No, everybody loves Luka, but I look at him. I think he could become an even more well-rounded player, and with his physical makeup, I think that could make for a scary combo. So yeah, I'm gonna go Zion just because I want to see what's next with him. I think there's a lot more coming next too.
I'm the same way with him. I feel like the next 3-4 years he can be the face of the NBA.
Yeah, it's possible.
I know Giannis is he's wearing the crown right now, and he got his championship ring, but Zion is coming. He's coming for that crown.
He's going to be there.
And this last one,
got to stay healthy though.
Yeah, that's the only knock on him.
Yeah, because his health and the weight and thing just like Chuck.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, that's the only thing. But other than that, we're on the same page.
I know this is kind of off topic with sports, but you think being in New Orleans makes it even tougher for on the weight?
Yeah.
Because that
I'm not. Yeah. All that. Yeah. You probably got some Popeyes. That Popeyes buffet they got down there. I meant to.
Popeyes buffet.
Yeah. That's one. I think it's the only one still standing. Yeah. The times I went down there, we never went there, but because they got chicken places on Bourbon Street, and yeah, the Popeyes buffet, you know, that's all I hear them dudes talk about. Wow. So hopefully he stays out of there. You know, just go there every once in a while, but don't be a regular customer.
Right, right.
So, but other than that, he should be fine. Yeah. Will you stop?
I think it's.
Man, this got me feeling like I'm on Comic View, man. This is a sports show, man. This ain't no comedy.
Zachary Fordyce, our lead producer, man.
Yeah,
great job. Him and George in the back, man. We appreciate y'all, all the work y'all do. They had all this set up for us. And the last guy I want to get to, and this gonna sound crazy probably, but I'm a big Ja Morant fan.
Yeah, I like Ja Morant too.
If Ja Morant or Luka for the next 5 years, I'm gonna go with Ja. And this is no shade at Luka, but this is how much.
I don't know. I mean, I like Ja's got to get his.
If he wasn't in Memphis, bro.
No, I don't think Memphis got nothing to do with it. I think Ja has. I don't know. I think I still go with Luka. I don't want to sell Luka short. All those guys, because I think Ja could be a superstar as well. But I mean,
future MVP.
A future, he can be that as well. I mean, all the guys we named, I think could be MVP candidates at some point.
Right.
But I think I would probably go with Luka. I just think just more well-rounded game. I think Ja has to get his shot together a little bit more. To me, he's more of he's a slashing type point guard. I'm not big on. Well, no, I mean. How well of a shooter is he?
I don't know his percentages off the top of my head, but
I wish you took that in your notes.
I'm pretty sure he's above 30-some%. He's above, like, Luka's around 35, 36%. I'm pretty sure he's around somewhere around that same area.
Okay, well, I mean, if he's shooting what Luka is. Okay, if he's shooting what Luka is, then he's well on his way. I think I'll still probably go with Luka just for now. I'm gonna watch a little more of Ja. So I'll give him a chance.
I just love Ja Morant's game, man. He's one of my favorite players to watch. To me, he's worth getting an NBA league pass just to watch him play, in my opinion.
No, he's exciting. I'm not even going to argue on. He's definitely somebody to get league pass on because his athleticism. He's amazing.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, he's got some
ability is crazy.
Yeah.
And as looking at my notes, man, we was also get that back to the AP top 25. College football, they did release the AP top 25. The same four in the top four. You got you got Alabama, you got Clemson, you got the Ohio State, you got the Oklahoma. I was really looking at the top 25, and then one team really stuck out at me, and I kind of talked to you before the show.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like we have an opportunity to have a new face in the college football final this year.
Sure.
Iowa State.
Yeah.
I know it sounds kind of crazy right now.
No.
They're returning the offensive player of the year and the defensive player of the year. And, last year they had that early loss you told me to UL Lafayette, was it?
Yeah, UL.
And UL Lafayette was a pretty darn good football team.
That's probably one of their best teams ever.
That's a darn good ball club there. And if you're Iowa State, I was looking at their schedule. The only tough game they play Texas at home. They play some of the tougher opponents at home. The only tough game they have on the road is at Norman. And I think they can go in there and maybe make an upset and run the table and put themselves in a position to be in the BCS, not the BCS, but the college football playoff.
Same thing. They just slapped a new label on it. But, I mean, Iowa State, that definitely is a good pick for a surprise team because they did pretty well last year. I think they finished like 5th or 6th in the college football playoff rankings. So, it's definitely a team to watch out for. And the Big 12, there's nobody definitive other than Oklahoma. They're the only real big dog that stands out right now. So, I would agree on that.
But for some reason, Oklahoma, whenever they're ranked this high, they always have that one slip up. Mm-hmm. For the last 10 to 15 years, they always slip up and I feel like I don't know.
They slip up when they get to the postseason.
Right.
You didn't see my tweet earlier?
Nah,
Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, the same amount of college football playoff wins.
Damn, dude.
Hey, if you're an Oklahoma fan, I'm sorry, but I only speak facts on this show.
Damn, that's bad.
Yeah, so I mean,
they haven't won a college football game yet.
No,
they've
never won a college football playoff game.
Damn, I thought they won at least one.
They've never not won. Everyone they've
they made it a couple times.
They've made it, but they don't win. They get beat every time.
That's bad for the Big 12.
I mean, hey,
that's not because the team that represents your conference is getting smacked.
Well, it won't be soon because they're trying to.
Everybody trying to go to the SEC.
Yeah, pack up and move to Beverly. So, you know what I mean.
Well, another thing I would say, like I mentioned their schedule, I think the only game I'm kind of worried about outside the Oklahoma game is they play UNI that very first game, and that can be a kind of a trap game because that's more of a Division II, a smaller school, but they're pretty good, and the guys have to be ready to play that ball team.
Michigan and Appalachian State was 15 years ago, Trey. I don't think we have to worry about that. But no, I don't know. I mean, you and I don't know. You and I, you and me. I don't know too much about Division II that much. I'll leave that to you. I should though. Once again, irresponsible journalism on my part.
Another North Carolina. They, in my opinion, they have the future. I know I was talking about Spencer Rattler, but I went back and I watched a bunch of North Carolina games and I watched a bunch of Oklahoma games. This kid, Sammy Howell. I think he should go. He's an opportunity if he plays well this year to be the number one quarterback taken in the draft. Okay. And I'm hoping, the Texans, we can, maybe scoop him or even Spencer Rattler up. I think they could be a very dangerous team in the ACC. They don't really have much competition. I know Miami gets the same hype every year. We hear this, the U is back, and then they lose.
I'm sorry, Papa. That's him talking. My dad is a huge Miami fan. He got on me about that joke I made, like the first episode when they were talking about Miami beating Florida State twice.
Right. They was good back in the early 2000s when they had, the whole crew, but they don't have that same crew no more. They have a very talented 4 or 5 star.
I'm not gonna. You go ahead and say it. I'm not gonna say anything. My parents watching, and I gotta watch what I say sometimes. So
I got North Carolina facing Clemson in the ACC championship. Okay. And there could be a possible upset and another new face in the
Wait a minute. So are they? But like the ACC does something weird. Like they don't separate divisions by East and West. They got Atlantic and Coastal. Right. So like some teams are like right next to each other. It's not geographically separated. It's like randomly. Right. So they're in the opposite. They can play in the. Okay. Well, yeah, you probably did your research. So I agree. Sam Howell is probably going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken in next year's draft. Definitely talented, great arm, great accuracy. I watched him against Boston College. I like what's in
live arm.
Yeah. So, shout out to Mac Brown once again. He's rejuvenated that program, and they definitely on the up and up. Like you said, obviously there's going to be the one big dog in the conference is Clemson. Everybody goes through Clemson. But I think North Carolina they could do something pretty special this year.
A very dangerous team.
Most definitely.
And a team that I seen that was ranked a little too high, in my opinion, is Ohio State. I get it, but Penn State, I think, is going to be a problem this year in the Big Ten. They're returning a lot of starters on offense and defense. I know they lost Micah Parsons, who was, an all-world defensive player of the year, defensive player for that football team. But Penn State this year can make a good run at the Big Ten championship. And I just don't see Ohio State losing Justin Fields, losing a lot of those weapons on offense, being a top 3 or 4 team in the nation this year.
Well,
I know they're going out for recruiting and all that, but
but Penn State's biggest issue, and to me, honestly, this might be a make or break year for James Franklin.
Yeah,
but I think he kind of got saved because a lot of those guys sat off coast, including Micah Parsons.
Right.
But one thing they've got to win the big games. Yeah. That's always been Penn State. When it came down to the Ohio States, or whoever else that was leading in the Big Ten, they kind of fell short. So if Penn State could get past those big dogs, especially Ohio State, I think they definitely could be a major player. You're right, because they definitely have. They're bringing in talent like they always have.
Always have talent.
Yeah. So I think James Franklin, once again, this might be a make or break season because the expectations were high last year.
He came from Vanderbilt? I think?
Vanderbilt, yeah.
Right.
And they had a pretty good, he got them in it. Hey, if you get Vanderbilt in the top 25, you getting coach in the office from everybody. Because they're like, I don't know how you doing that.
And the academic, just to get players into that school.
What did I say? They're just there to raise the SEC's GPA. They do their jobs. So shout out to them. But Penn State definitely could be a player in the Big Ten too.
Right. And moving on, man, we go pick it back a little bit to the NBA. That's all for my notes here, man.
All that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All in all, huh? Oh, man, we really putting in some work.
Yeah, I was watching a little, trying to find topics today, and a lot of people was kind of hopping on a hype train with Jalen Green, and I don't mind that, right? But I really feel like a lot of people are missing the boat with Alperen Sengun, the big man, the 7-foot center out of Turkey. I really think he has the opportunity to be a special center in the league. I know you don't really talk about summer league and all that, but watching this, I went back and I watched a lot of his Euro tape.
Okay.
This guy, he might be one of the top 5 players from this draft.
Okay, well, we already talked about it. I wasn't watching, so I'm going to go by your words.
Right.
You said he was from Turkey?
Right.
All right, well, I'm sure it's a nice country. Right there where Enes Kanter was from? Didn't they threaten to arrest him if he came back up there?
He had some issues with the government. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe it's not as nice country as I thought. But, it's, once again, point I made yesterday, young guys have to develop in the summer league. They got to create some cohesiveness and some chemistry. That's going to be the main thing before they go into October and November. And, I would just wish them health. That's all we can hope for right now. It's going to be a long rebuild, but I'm happy that, all the reports of how they're looking is good. I want that to continue so that the Rockets could be on the better path for a future. So, yeah.
I know we talked about who was the biggest winners in this year's free agency. Who would you say, this is off the top of my head, who's the biggest losers in this year's free agency? Which team you think took the biggest slip down? Like,
I don't know. It's hard to say because, here's the thing. We could say the biggest winners because all the teams that are in the running for biggest winners, they were being aggressive. If you're a team
Toronto.
Why you say Toronto? Because they
lost Kyle Lowry and they're talking about trading Pascal Siakam.
Does that make them? Were they like big? Was there any reports about them being big buyers in free agency though? I don't think they really want to be in free agency.
But I just feel.
You're talking about just like off season?
Yeah, they just
off season.
Yeah, them and Cleveland. Cleveland always was off season. So I
think Detroit had the worst off season because they sucked. They won.
They got number 1 pick.
I guess.
Kate Cunningham. It's okay.
All right, we'll go. I don't know how it works. To me, Toronto would be a good argument because they kind of fell off since that championship year, and are they going to trade Pascal Siakam?
There's a lot of teams reaching out for Pascal Siakam. There's a lot of teams wanting his services, and Toronto's taking the calls. And if they move off of Pascal Siakam, they're into rebuilding mode after 2-3 years ago winning the NBA championship.
Funny how that works, huh?
Right, and if you're what's the name? The GM
Masai
Ujiri. Do you start taking phone calls from other franchises? Because it's tough in Toronto.
You're probably getting calls for Pascal anyways, whether or not he's answering.
No. I'm talking about taking calls from another job.
You mean get his walking papers?
Because
because
Toronto, you've done all you can possibly do. You had the big time players in Kawhi Leonard. He still didn't stay. You did everything it took to keep that guy there. If you, I can't say it. Ujiri.
Yeah.
If you're Ujiri, why not look at another team like I know Boston just got Brad Stevens, but look at another formative franchise that you can really build out for yourself.
That does sound like an idea. You jumping in before stuff get bad. You can't fire me because I quit. But
because if this goes down, everybody gonna be pointing fingers at him, and it's he built that championship team.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. He definitely still has a lot of cachet that people will want him. Right. If the offer's on the table, sure. I don't know what his contract specifics look like. How long they have him set, but if it's looking like he knows that this is not going to get any better, then by all means, hey, if you get somewhere else, go ahead.
I know there's a bunch of teams that could take him. Go ahead, man.
No, you want me to start ranting while you drink your water, man?
I was getting.
No, you good. Replenish yourself. That's
and we're almost running out of time here on the event. We want to say thank you guys, everyone joining in and listening in. Comment down below, be a part of the show. We'd like to read them back to you guys. We do have the eight divisions in 8 days coming soon.
Yes.
We're working on everything. We're going to have our picks, division picks, players to watch, players of the division. We're doing a lot, man. We're trying to get everything situated. And tomorrow, we're going to be doing Lights Out with Lou, and we're going to also have the event premiere right before Lights Out with Lou as well. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned here on Maxx Sports TV. We have a jam-packed week. We're getting ready to sign off. I'm Gentre Williams, joined by our best friend, Darrian Valsin. Thank you guys so much for joining the event. We out, y'all. Peace and love. Have a great night.
I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a boy. Checking out talent. Valley from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now, we the livest in H-Town. So while you tipping in your slab or your Chevy, or you chillin' in your house, get your popcorn